Thank you so much for joining us today for another episode of Bold Voices. It has been a minute. We have had like a little hiatus, but we are so glad to come back with you guys today. We've got a great panel lined up around the topic of relationships and referrals and how that ends up with more money in our business. So, we're excited to talk about this topic. And I think this is really relevant, because I just went on a little mini vacation. And there's a lot of things changing in each of our lives when it comes to profitability. You know you want to scale, but then things come up and expenses. So I think it's really a good topic to really address at this time of the year as we're reflecting on being halfway through the year. What's next for these next 6 months as we approach the end of 2023. So we're excited to dive into this topic. And, we're not experts in some of these topics, but we like to raise the conversation around it because I have found on my journey that transparency is what really has helped me to grow and level up in so many areas. So I am a mother of 15 children and I don't know everything. None of my kids actually are just like me. Matter of fact, I feel like I'm learning every day something new because we learn differently, we communicate differently. It's like sometimes I think they're talking foreign language, even though I'm trying to learn Spanish. I don't know what language they're talking. Okay. So I think coming together and being able to share these perspectives is really what helps me to grow and get more comfortable being uncomfortable. But I'm excited to be here. I'm also a vitality coach, so I help you navigate through the chaos of overwhelm, burnout. The list can go on, and transform that into clarity and confidence with a smile. So I'm so excited to be here with my co host. I just can't believe how far we've come. I was looking at all the different episodes that we've had, and it's just amazing. It doesn't even seem like it's been any work at all. So I'm excited to be here with them. So, Rochelle, over to you.
Hi. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Yeah, this summer has just kind of floated along, and I feel like we haven't really connected, but we have, just kind of not maybe directly here. So, yeah, I think today's show is going to be amazing. I have lots going on here in Canada. I am a transformational coach, as many of you know. I'm also a podcast and TV producer for the Transformational Soul Talks, where I get to share so many people's story from around the world. And that story can help someone somewhere get through a really tough life challenge. So, yeah, I'm very excited about today's topic because relationships and moving along in life and how that can really help your business is a great topic. So, over to you, Misty.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm Misty Lee, Campground TBD Publishing, and like my two beautiful co-hosts, I have many hats. On the one end, I'm an author and publisher, and I put together great compilations that provide all those beautiful perspectives like we talked about. And on the other hand, here in Western Arkansas, I provide grief relief spaces, or when people get too far down the path, like Michelle talked about, overwhelm and underwhelm, and they need to step away, we provide some safe space here in Western Arkansas for that. And I love our topic today. So, Michelle, I'm excited to get started after the next step for you.
Awesome. Well, we're going to have a quick little break and we're going to be right back with our guests. So stay tuned, guys. Welcome to Real Life Without Excuses. I am America's Supermom.
Yeah, I love how we had our own fall festival. Whenever, that was just too funny. That was fun.
Recognize who you are, what you'd like to see in your life, and who you'd like to partner with.
I love that. And, that's coming from a place of power.
She makes. I have written with women who have been through things I could not even imagine. You can tell the old story. Don't dwell on the old story because most of your friends are not trauma counselors.
Well, thank you guys so much for that video break. I just noticed that I still have that slide about California. I'm still in California, y'all, even though I'm back home. Vacation is over, but I'm still in California. So excited to be here today with our topic. And I'm going to toss it over to Misty Lee, who's going to get us started today.
Hi, I see some more people joined us. That's exciting. It's always nice to see some more faces when we pop back in. So I'm Misty Lee from Campground, like I said from the beginning. And one of my favorite parts about working with Lachelle this past year is the collaboration effect and how it has exponentially reduced the cost of me running my business. This isn't my first business. It's not my only business. So I'm kind of too old to be shopping around. So I wanted to ask each of you, how has your relationship and how you do your relationships in business, how has that helped you in your current business? And I'll let whoever wants to pop in because I can't really see the names. Lachelle, unless you want to call on someone.
Let's start with Tanya. I love her logo and branding right front and center. So, she definitely can share some insight about that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. So you see the logo behind me on the wall now too. See, branding just goes through everything, right? Well, I love this topic today because collaboration has it's really helped us so much. And there's a couple of different kinds of partnerships that I look at. Collaboration is really co-educating with a partner who's reaching the same type of audience, and most often non-competitive partners. And then referral partners are just somebody that you refer out to. You don't necessarily educate or promote each other's stuff on a regular basis, but you refer out to them because you trust them to take good care of your clients. And in the last couple of years, we've really focused on those two types of partners. And I can tell you that probably 40% of our business has come from those partners. We're very particular about who they are because we want to make sure that anybody we send to them is going to be very well taken care of just like family. And I think for us, what we teach is everything begins with the brand, right? So anything else you do after that has to have the brand infused into it. You can't market without a brand. You can't write a book without a brand. You can't do anything without developing that brand first. So you can try, but it's not going to be the best scenario, right? So when we say that, our partners are always the what's next partners. And the what's next is we could have somebody come through and build a brand, and we can say, okay, now they need coaching in this area. Maybe they need life coaching or business coaching. We have a partner for that. They need to finish writing that book they've been working on for the last 5 years. We have a partner for that. They need to get on a podcast network. We have a partner for that. So really look at what your own clients need next, and that should tell you who your partner should be. And I'll let everybody else chime in, but I get really excited about this because partners are the heart of growth in a business, in the businesses that we do, these solopreneur businesses.
I love that. I love that. Thank you.
That was awesome. What about you, Nancy? What are your thoughts?
And I love what Tanya said, because the foundation is always going to be there first and foremost. And I have been leading networking groups over 20 years. Corporate America kicked me out 40 years ago. But I agree with Tanya so much, because it is getting to know people. And if you would do business with them, and then you could refer them to others. And again, I think it's so important for us to know who we are and our foundation, especially with so much networking and so many collaborations and things going on. You really want to know that you're going to be talking with somebody that has been vetted, that has been, talked with, that you would trust. And again, it's all about relationships at the end of the day, whether they're partners, resources, referrals, or whatever it is. It all boils down to those relationships that we have been creating.
I love that. Now, can you give us a tip on networking? Because I think a lot of people have this buzzword about it, but I'm on LinkedIn and they talk about networking, and I get these messages all the time. Do you want to have someone help you get 40 more appointments or whatever? So can you give us some insights on what is the right thing about networking?
I really believe, Lachelle, that making sure, just we talked about the foundation, you know who you are, you know what you have to offer, and that's just a given. And you have that security and that wisdom and that knowledge and understanding. But the main thing I believe with networking is listening and asking those questions and finding out what it is that that other person needs, what they have successes in, and celebrate. Women don't like to celebrate too much, but I think we need to always stop and celebrate just a little bit before we continue on. But finding out really what it is that their strengths are, what they've got challenges in, and finding out those things and addressing those things first. I got to meet Zig Ziglar before he died, and I love, he's always talked about always giving first without ulterior motives, without false intentions, and having that heart of being really connecting with people. And I like playing Sherlock Holmes. So it's like, you're always investigating, you're finding out, and you're taking those notes, and you're doing those things, and you're doing those follow-ups to help other people first and foremost. Surely we all have different streams of income and do different things that we want to be able to share with others. But I always believe that we give first.
Love that. That was good. What are your thoughts, Martha, on relationships and how we can build them?
Yes. So I just started using my voice 5 months ago here on LinkedIn, and I've had the pleasure to connect with so many amazing people and also assist them, right? Sometimes people don't know how to ask for help. And I have a background in healthcare, and if I can be of service, I'll just stick my hand out and just help anyways. And I've been getting a lot of positive reactions, and I'm just thankful that I'm able to do what I love to do for a living, to also give it out voluntarily to assist others, because sometimes people don't know where to go. So if you have a service that you can help, and if you want to be that hand, stick your hand out and help, go on and do it, because you never know, like, the type of connection that you're going to end up building in the end. Like, I'm just really shocked with just being myself and extending my hand and loving what I do, right? Because you have to have a passion. And you can't just say you're going to do something and not really have any passion behind it. And I always go with human kindness. And I just said this recently, treat others how you want to be treated. When you're in a room, respect and listen, right? So I've had to learn to listen, because sometimes I lack in that, but I'm practicing every day.
I love that. And what came to mind for me is, really being able to hear what people are not saying. Because I was one of those people that was not asking for help. I thought I had to know everything, and I was driving myself crazy trying to pretend like I knew everything. So I think when we are better listeners, we can hear what people are not saying, to really be able to step up and help them as well. So I think that's a wonderful observation. So Rochelle, we'll go over to you for what are your thoughts on the next question? Or did you want to add something?
No, I like all of what they shared. I love the bit about Zig Ziglar. I think that is incredible, because it is when you give without expecting. I had this conversation with my daughter the other day. I was like, you can't expect anything. You just have to give, and it'll end up coming back to you in its own way. My question, I think, would be around, do you feel, or here's my question, what do you feel would work better, collaboration or you think networking for your businesses? Like, which one would you think you would resonate more, or which one do you think would be more suited for your businesses? That would be my question. I know what it's done for me, but I'm asking you ladies. So would ever like to start? Tanya, I think your name was. Sorry, again, it's really small, so I
No
can't
problem.
see.
It is Tanya.
Okay, good.
Yes. Okay, so I really think you need both. I think that you find your collaboration partners through networking, right? And you find your referral partners through networking, and you find your prospects, and you find your promotional partners, and you find a lot of things through that. So that networking is that kind of first door that opens to I love what Nancy said about Zig. I'm a big Zig fan. So I wish I had gotten to meet him. That would have been a highlight for me. But I feel like if we give and those expectations, we don't have expectations on what we get in return, that is just a beautiful thing, part of life. And I think you should practice that in your professional and your personal life. We don't always do that. I know I don't, right? I don't always do that, but I try hard to do it. But I think that if you network and you open that first door and you just keep your eyes open and look for people who have the kind of spirit that you want to be involved with, who have that kind of sincerity that you want to be involved with, then the rest will just take place naturally, honestly.
That's a great answer. Wow. Again, I can't see, so I'm going to say over to the next lady, whoever wants to ask.
Nancy, we'll go to you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Lachelle.
Oh, you're good. I can't find a pen, so I'm over here trying to write on my phone so I don't forget my question.
Oh, I know. Don't you love technology? It works wonderful. And then there's times for how did it work? But anyway,
it's so true.
Yes, I know. But I agree. It takes both. And, you know, the networking does help open doors and helps you to be able to ask for those people that would be good collaborators or good partners. And just like we were talking about, women have a challenge sometimes asking. But I think it's a fantastic way, again, to open those doors. And somebody just a few minutes ago mentioned a system. And that's another great thing to know, to stay organized, you know, with your networking, leveraging technology, leveraging those things to help keep you organized. And then even when, you know, I've got like 6 or 7 different kind of Calendly scheduling things. But, you know, one things I love asking is, would you please remind me where our paths crossed? And so that helps you to keep things, you know, organized. And then you're able to go back and look through some of the messagings and the things that you've had with that person. I love, again, leveraging technology as a tool to be able to help support with the networking and the collaborations. It just helps you to stay a little bit more organized. But I agree, it takes both.
Over to you, Martha.
Thanks, Lachelle.
I agree too with the ladies that just spoke here. I'm just starting, as you know, my career, starting a nonprofit in healthcare advocacy. And so I am definitely been speaking on what I'm going to be doing the next couple of weeks here in Houston. And so it has to be, you have to have a strong network, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be knocking on doors that I don't know. So LinkedIn here, so many wonderful people that I'm getting to connect with are uplifting me as I go on this journey. And so definitely having a strong group of people to connect with that will uplift you, as then will create collaboration. That's what I'm seeing as I'm embarking on my journey, is networks coming together and then embarking on this collaboration.
I love that. You know, and I mean, these are some great points that you're bringing up, because, you know, we do have to have them both. You know, you can't have a collaboration if you don't have people to have the collaboration with, which is really your network. But, you know, I think also we have moments where, you know, we've been putting in the time, we've been building the relationships, and we have this desire to figure out, you know, how am I going to accomplish these monetary goals? Mm-hmm. You know, so what advice would you give to people about staying present and going through the process? Because there are times when, you know, you feel like you have this immediate financial goal or need, but sometimes, you know, people say, well, trust the process, or, you know, you're running a marathon and not a sprint. So what advice would you give them about some of those highs and lows in navigating through that time?
Michelle, I'll go real quick, and then that'll give you guys a chance to talk just real. That's one that's very passionate to me. And both of you, or several of you have mentioned this actually. That's where I think the beauty of loving what you do comes in, because you feel like you're almost just having your day and enjoying your life, but the service becomes part of it. That's kind of how you and I work together, Lachelle, that we simply enjoy having each other's conversation, and we always have a network or a referral or someone who's looking for something. So I love that if what you guys had mentioned about loving what you do, it makes that ability to serve so much easier than coming up to it and saying, oh gosh, how can I get $500 or something like that? You could just keep flowing, and the more you flow, then the 500 becomes a $5,000 option, or 10, something bigger and bigger and bigger, because you're expansive. So thank you for letting me go first, and now we'll go back around again and go back to Tanya and circle back around.
Okay, so the first thing I would recommend is be deliberate in how you show up. Because 98% of people will actually meet your brand before they ever meet you. Think about that. In today's digitized world, we've probably seen each other on LinkedIn, received an email, seen something of a social media post on Facebook, whatever that is. We've been exposed to somebody and their brand digitally before we ever actually get on a Zoom call or meet them in person. And so being deliberate about how you show up and how you're positioned to attract the right partners and attract the right prospects, that's huge. If we think about, we're losing 98% of possibilities, of opportunities to do business if we don't position ourselves the right way to the right people. So that's the first thing I would recommend. And the second thing I would recommend is your point was much more, Lachelle, on the money. Like, people always say, well, just stick with it. It'll happen, and don't lose faith and all that kind of stuff. But you've got to actually ask for it. You've got to ask for it. So you've got to set up the opportunities where you deliberately say, this is what I do, and I really feel like I can help you. And if we can get on a call together, maybe I can show you some things, and hey, worst case scenario, we'll make a new friend after the call. Best case scenario, we'll end up working together, and we can work on improving whatever it is that you do for somebody. And don't be afraid to ask for the money. Just don't be afraid to ask for it, because each of us comes into this world with great, talents and skills, right? We don't come into the world with it. We develop it throughout our journey in this world, right? But we come into this business that we have with a lot of skills and talents. And we should definitely focus on making sure that we know we're worth it. Our mantra is change how you're seen and charge what you're worth. So this is a great money question to answer on my part of things. I'm very passionate about that. I think that you deserve more. You should get more. And if you're delivering to your clients, it all comes out in the end. It really does. If you go into it with a genuine desire to help somebody and see them through the process and see their success in the process, then you deserve to be paid for it.
I love that. I think a lot of people kind of avoid that, because, we are passionate and we are excited about what we do. We know what the results are, but, it also reminds me that people don't pay attention if they don't pay, right? And
very true.
They don't have that same skin in the game. So they're not motivated to take action. So the results don't come that you're giving them this insight on, because they're not moving the needle, because they don't feel like it's something they have to do or they're going to be accountable for. But once they put that money on the table, the results come, because they're going to be making sure that they're getting their money's worth. So I love that you share that. That was a big one. So Nancy, over to you. What are your thoughts?
I think a lot of women don't realize that money is just a tool, and so many people have the wrong relationship with money. And just like you were talking about, they won't ask for it. But the only way money continually grows is for it to keep moving, and so it has to keep going places. And I think for all of us, especially, going back to that foundation, if we have our foundations right and are doing those things every single day to make sure that we are in that right mind, heart set, and in that physical set, we're taking care of us first and foremost, then we get to show up as our very best self. And that's something I think that a lot of people don't realize, because there's always somebody that's doing something that we're doing. It's always choices. But, do you want to show up and stand out and be that person that attracts people going, that person I would really love to get to know better and find out more what they're doing. And just like you said, if getting to know each other and finding out if what you have that's serving somebody else is beneficial, and without a doubt that they are going to be improved, they're going to thrive, they're going to just evolve even more so by going through whatever you have to share and offer and work with them, then that is, again, that heart attitude that we really want what's best for them. But I learned years ago, you cannot be so attached. You cannot get attached to the outcome. I can bless and release. I call it BNR really fast. If I've shared with somebody and this is not the right time for them, and asking that, again, finding out what is important for the other person, finding out what they're investing in, because everything we do is investing, whether it's physical, financial, emotional, spiritual, it's always investing. But again, going back to the money, making sure that, we have that right attitude first and foremost, that we know that it's not just to get something or whatever, it's being a good steward of what we're getting and evolving and sowing into.
I love that. Now, you mentioned something that was a game changer for me is not being married to the outcomes, So for somebody who is like, okay, what does that even mean? How do I get started with that? What would you say to them?
Well, and that's, again, asking questions, Lachelle. So we all want goals. We all want those plans. We all have the steps to achieve those things. And again, finding out if this is really where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. And again, the question is, what is it that's going to benefit that person foremost for them to reach their goals and their plans? And when you said not be attached to it, people all have the right to make their own decisions. And so, unless they're children, we're raising them, they can't tell us no. That's something else. So, but we just all want to give each other, that grace and space. But again, just like you're talking about, ask if this is something that is great for you at this time in your life, and you can see how it will sow into your future well-being. Why would you not try something? Why would you not invest? What are you investing in? And what are the results that you're expecting?
That's good stuff. All right. So, Martha, we're over to you. What are your thoughts?
Yes. Again, I'm going back with human kindness because I work with the community. And one of the best feelings in the world is when you help someone and you see them actually succeeding, right? And so that goes with what many of you have actually shared here, all of you, with how are you going to be a source to others, right? So everything I'm doing now is volunteer work, minus my contracts, right? But what I'm finding on this journey is, sorry, I'm getting a little distracted here. What I'm finding on this journey is that you do have to put yourself out there in order to get the resources. And apologize. And sometimes you get cases where you can't help, right? And you have to be that encourager. I've had very interesting cases where you have the caller crying on the phone and you have to be that strong person to lift their spirits up, because sometimes all they need is for you to lift them up. So I understand that money is needed too, but I understand when you do it from your heart to help as well, right? So I'm still conflicted with that as we speak, and I have to be honest here with you all, that yes, we do need money to survive, but we also need to give back. And so how do we give back? That would be a question for each of you, if you could help answer that.
I love that, because I think a lot of people struggle with that. What it sounded like when you were sharing is that it has to be either or, instead of, for me, simply adding and just totally transformed my life, because you don't have to choose. You don't have to give in order to receive. You can actually do them both. And just establishing boundaries. I can't give people everything and then not have any money to pay my bills, right? So you have to establish, what are those boundaries? Am I going to commit to, so many hours a week doing, good deeds, if that's what you want to call them, or, talking to people for free? How does that look? Is that me doing an audio room on LinkedIn, or some other platform, doing a Facebook Live or something, where you're able to share your insight, but it's in a measured way, that you're not giving away things that you could be monetizing and making an income from. So for me, it's just simply adding and not feeling like I have to do one or the other. But want to hear what everybody else feels.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I love what Martha said about giving back, because, it reminds me of one time this guy messaged me through LinkedIn, and he said, "Tanya, make me a star." And I, without even thinking, I just hit him back right away. And I said, "We don't make stars, Bob. We unveil them." And I feel like that's so true. I think all of us in our positions have this counselor type, within us. I know a lot of people come to us and they want to build this brand, and there's so much inside of them. And when we say we unveil inner stars, there's a star inside of everybody, and you've got to just tap into that and find it. But I feel like one of the greatest things that I feel like we contribute, other than, giving money to, some other causes as we make it, and giving it along the way, 'cause the and in life, right, is really lifting somebody up and helping them realize, giving them permission to build the brand that they deserve. Because a lot of times also, I've been on the phone with people, and I'm talking about men and women, and there will be many tearful moments as they go throughout this transformation of building a brand that they really deserve. But what happens is, we'll finish the brand or get to a part of the brand where we're unveiling a certain part of it to them, and they say, "Oh my gosh, now I have to live up to that brand." And I say, "Hold on just a minute. Tough love moment here. This brand is trying to live up to you. You are already there. You just don't see it yet, but we do." And so that is, I think there's many ways of giving back, and not just monetary, but I think that's one of them too, is lifting another human being up, because we all deserve it.
That was excellent. All right, Nancy.
Great words, Tanya. I love it, because we all need to have cheerleaders, and we all need to sow in hope again, especially in this day and time, to other people. And, one of the thinking about too, how do you do the and? That's where great wisdom and knowledge and understanding and experience comes in. Lachelle, I'm not going to say anything about you and me, sort of being sisters in the same generation. But anyways, but you ask for wisdom, and you ask for some guidance from some people that have already been there and done it. Like we were talking about earlier, women sometimes don't like to ask for help. But, when you are laying out your plans, you put boundaries around those different areas. Lachelle's great for looking and being able to look and see how you can do some things and monetize things that, you just take for granted. But, the things that you're doing is you're being a good steward of your time and your money, and, the gifts and talents that you have been given. And it is challenging, because most women have the gift of mercy and servanthood, and they will just give. And that's not what some people need sometimes. Sometimes people need, just like you're talking about, that tough love. They need to be able to say, "Okay, I'm going to give you some guidance and direction, whatever. And then you need to take action. You need to be responsible for doing some things, or you might need some other resources." Learned a long time ago, when somebody asks you to do something, volunteering, like in churches, it's usually the same people that are doing everything. You can say, "Thank you so much. I'm honored that you would ask me to do that, but at this particular time, I can't put anything else on my plate. But you know what? Thank you. or no, thank you. I've had some people just go, no, but you know, you just, you know, or I can help you find somebody, or maybe I could suggest somebody else that would be a good fit for that. And that also helps other people to receive blessings, because sometimes women, again, we don't like to have that help. And we put that hand up going, no, I'm good. I've got it and whatever. And you know, somebody else came along and they offered something to be able to assist and help you. And you know that it's not your gift and talent. And you say, no, thank you. You just took a blessing away from somebody else and allowing them to use their gifts and talents to be able to serve. So receive, because you can't give if you don't receive. And that's one of the things that, you know, you don't want to overgive. You want to make sure that you're doing that flow, that there is the and, not the if, what, or but it's the and. Great word, Michelle.
That was awesome. Go ahead, Misty. Did you want to add something to that? Rochelle, did you want
Nope,
to add?
I was just excited. I love everything she said. I was clapping.
That was awesome.
I think that's great of what they said. I think the boundaries for us as women is very important, because we are caregivers. We like to give back, but we have to sort of put those boundaries, because I know sometimes we want to give and we want to help and we want to support. So we have to put a little bit of the boundary there to say, can't give you this, but I can show you this direction. Then there's someone else that maybe can support you, or maybe I can give you this direction. So I think that's a really good point, is those boundaries we have to really look at. You know, otherwise I know myself, I've gone into that overwhelm of trying to serve everybody with different dishes, and then you get exhausted. So definite boundaries are important.
Love that. I mean, that was a great question, Martha. And I think a lot of people, there's been a lot going on in the chat, and I'm not the best at multitasking with the chat. And my husband got me this new monitor that sits above my laptop. I know you guys might be saying that's too much information, but it makes me look off screen if I'm looking at the comments. So loving the people that are here. I believe Paul is very active in the comments. Mary Baker, want to give you guys a shout out. So thanks so much for doing what you're doing, that engagement. We love it. And we definitely are going to be looking at those comments when we get done today. But I want to ask the final question about relationships, you know, about nurturing them or follow up. You know, that's one of the things that I just love to hear different insight about, because I think, you know, so many people can make posts. You can do a live video. We can do something like what we're doing now. But then the final step is sometimes overlooked, the follow-up. You know, it's the answering the comments, or, you know, going back and having that one-on-one relationship. So I want to go around, and as you guys share, what is your best advice about follow-up, or different ideas and things that you do, as well as how everybody can get a hold of you, and if you have anything that's coming up, like maybe a book launch or something. You know, we do have one of our co-hosts who just hit international best-selling author status for a book she released on the 7th of July. So we're excited about that. So we'll start with you, Martha, and then we'll work our way around. So how do you follow up? What's your advice on following up, or something that you do to kind of help nurture those relationships, and where we can find you, and maybe different things that we can support you with? I know that was a lot.
Yes, no, it's okay. I'm really big on coffee chats. I'm always open for coffee chats. I found that when you see someone face to face, the interaction, it's so much heartwarming and open, and you just connect in a different level than audio, right? And so I love connecting, and I love referring people out. I'm really big on that. If I see something that I'm like, oh, I know so-and-so, let me get them connected, and they can, you know, work it out. I just do the connection. And I thank you, Lachelle, for doing that with me, because actually you started that, and it's been contagious actually, because now I'm spreading the love wherever I go. I'm just connecting people, and I'm like, you never know, they might be able to collab with something. So I'm really big on that. And at the end of the day, you get a friendship. If we cannot collab in any type of way, I've made a friend for life. So that's how I feel about my relationships here on LinkedIn. This is my family away from my family. And so everyone I connect with, they're treated like family.
Love that. That's awesome. Now, and then what's the best way for everybody to get a hold of you? And do you have anything coming up that we can support you with?
Yes, I don't have anything coming up yet, but anyone can connect with me on LinkedIn. I think my name should be showing there on the screen. Yeah, I'll be posting as I continue to create my nonprofit. This is brand new. I will start posting about my progress, my volunteer work, because I will be volunteering at different organizations here in the Houston area. So, yes.
Love that. Well, we wish you much success with that. I mean, that's not an easy feat. My husband's a pastor, so we had to do nonprofit status for our church. But, it's just something you got to do. You got to go through the formalities, but it's always for a good thing. So that's awesome. All right. So Nancy, we're over to you. Your advice or best practice and how we can support.
Well, I agree with her, and as she's talking, my little Rolodex brain's going around. See, Rolodex is an old word. I'm connecting, but and again, love connecting and sharing resources with anybody. But I think one of the biggest things is to schedule time for follow-ups. Like even after meetings and after, there's so many technology, you can leverage technology to help you to save the chats, to do different things or whatever, and to go back. But you have to schedule time for your follow-ups. I mean, you can use a lot of, again, tools and things that are automated to get started. But at the end of the day, it is having that one-on-one with people. But I think that a lot of times we will schedule meeting. I'm going, and then when are you going to follow up? When are you going to reconnect? So I think really scheduling some time in, I think prioritizing, pacing, and just, going over your calendar, especially women. We never give ourselves margin sometimes, but I would say, just having that margin in that time for those follow-ups. And yes, it's fun to follow back up and, if somebody's interested in what you're doing, whatever, but remember the old rule is if you can make somebody laugh, then they're going to remember you. But share things that are fun, share things that are uplifting, share things that are going to make people smile. Just stop and smile, and they're going to remember you. And then you can share tips and you can share different things. But I think that's one of the things is that some people will follow up and they'll get this mindset, I'm bugging them. Well, it used to take 12 to 20 follow-ups before you did business with people. Well, now there's so much noise and stuff going on. You might as well just know that you're going to continually follow up and stay in touch with people. Somebody told me something years ago, until they tell you, H, don't bother me again. But it's just as important. You have to schedule that time, leverage technology, and have a plan for your follow-up.
I love that. Now, so give us some insight on how much time should we schedule? Because I know if somebody's not doing that, what's a good place to start with scheduling?
We'll just know, and just look at your calendar during your week too. And as you've looked at your week and you've prioritized, then put in that buffer. If you've got a network meeting or whatever, and you're meeting a lot of people, then schedule at least 15 to 20 minutes afterwards. You don't have to connect with everybody. Connect with the ones that really stand out to you, and the ones that you would really love to get to know more about them. It's not just who I could probably sell to or, do business with. Those people rise up. They stand out to you. And then just, allowing that 15 to 20 minutes right after a meeting, go back and connect with them on LinkedIn. Go whatever you need to do. If you've got systems that are doing lead generations for you, you've got to schedule time to work it. I mean, the systems are great, but you still need to push the button.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That is really a good thing. So tell us, about the Happy Neighborhood Project. Is that what
I
that?
know. I've been leading the Happy Neighborhood Networking for North and South Carolina for almost 3 years, and again, I've been leading networking groups, and I have a women's TV show that Lachelle's going to be on soon, but on Win Win Women TV, and it's another great way for women supporting women around the world. Um, and I'm an author and a speaker and all that fun stuff too. But my business is the Healthy Sales Chick, and the best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn again, because I love Messenger on LinkedIn. It has that little blue dot, and you can address it whenever you have time to be able to connect with people. But it's just Nancy White, the Healthy Sales Chick.
Love that. And I want to say also, if you guys have books, to put them in the chat. Today is Amazon Prime Day, so people can get some deals when they shop. So put your books in the chat so that people can support you. So we're over to you, Tanya. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so Martha and Nancy answered great questions, and so I'm going to go in a little bit different direction because I would have said both of those. Obviously, are great, some great advice. I would say, having done this for a very long time, and collaboration being such a huge thing these days, you have to protect your schedule. You have to, because you can't meet with everybody as much as you want to. You only have so many hours in the day when you can actually meet with people. So one of the things we started doing was taking some like people that want to meet with us about collaboration and saying, why don't we meet this week at this particular time? And 8 of us will show up instead of a 1-to-1. That way they get exposed to 7 other people. We get exposed to 7 other people, and we have a chance to still have that face-to-face, still give back, still understand how we can help each other, but it's not killing our schedule. We actually have a podcast title coming up called Collaborations Killing the Calendar. And it's a fun one, right? But collaborations are necessary and they're wonderful. It's just you can't do everything, and we were getting exhausted from trying to keep up. So there's some advice, from life advice, that we went through, and how we're trying to handle that in a much better way. So anyway, how you can reach me is you can follow me on LinkedIn. I'll pop the link in the chat. You can go to brandfacestar.com. But if you're interested in learning more about personal branding and what it can mean to you, download a free guide that we have, and it'll give you lots of tips and a lot more than I could share here today. And it's called brandfaceguide.com. brandfaceguide.com. And that's it. And thank you, ladies. It's been such a pleasure being on here with all of you today. Lachelle, you're wonderful.
Thank you. You guys have said some great tips. I think the tip that you just shared about people collaborating and coming together, I mean, that's something that we're actually living out with this panel. We started out where we're like, let's just talk amongst ourselves, and we just opened it up, and now here we are. I don't know how many episodes later. So I love that idea because there's nothing like learning in real time. When you're able to hear somebody else's perspective, it really helps you compound time. You don't have to go through some of the things by trying it all out yourself. You can ask them, well, have you considered, does this happen when you've done that? How do you avoid this? And so you can really learn how to avoid a lot of the pitfalls really quickly. So that really has been a game changer for us. And I think another thing is really communicating in real time. So it kind of really bugs me not being able to address the comments the same time that I'm on. But, I've learned that I thought my word this year was synergy, but it's really been present. And so it's hard for me to be present with this panel if I'm looking at the comments, because I'm a deep thinker. Somebody says something, then I'm thinking about that comment. I'm like, wow, I could do that at home or whatever. And I'm totally distracted. So that's one of the things. But if you can do stuff in real time, it really is a game changer, So commenting in chats and things like that on Zoom calls, being prepared with your information, putting it in the chat, because you can get caught up in the moment. Maybe it's a class and you're really attentive to whatever they're sharing, and then you forget later on. You're so caught up in the things that people are sharing, you forget to put your information in there. So doing that first and foremost is something that I try to be mindful of. So Rochelle, what are your thoughts on following up?
I think it's important. It's like going to the grocery store and putting something on the conveyor belt and then going back and taking it back and not following through and cashing out. You kind of have to, right? You're going back and forth. So I think it is a follow through. And who knows? I mean, sometimes you meet with someone and then nothing really comes of that, but they give you a connection and you give them connection, and then it ends up supporting them in a different way and you in a different way. So I think the follow through is really important, because you never know what's on the other side. You never know what can happen from that. So I always like to say, follow through, find out, and whatever shows up is there to support you always. So very important. Very important.
That. And Misty, what are your thoughts?
Well, one of my favorite questions is, who do you know? So one of the ways I like to follow up is just, I saw you on the show, and who do you know that you would recommend for this, that, and the other, or who are you looking for? And we just, that conversation right there, where neither one of us is actually selling anything. We're just kind of showing, oh, I'm looking for a new publisher. I'm looking for someone with branding. Do you know anyone? And that conversation makes it really safe. And like Nancy said, just schedule a who do you know call. I like to do those Monday morning. I just call some of my friends. What's going on in your world? Lachelle always asks me, how can I support you this week? So that's kind of my question. What's going on? How can I support you? Who do you know? Because I have a friend who's looking for this. And what are you looking for? And we just kind of exchange nuggets in the network. That's one of my favorite tools to schedule that in. And it gives me personal eyeball connection like the coffee time ones do. So I like that.
Love that. Well, we want to thank you, ladies, so much for joining us today. So many great takeaways, and just having the conversation, I know, really has helped a lot of people who have watched with us today. And of course, we know an hour is not enough time to really dive into a lot of these topics. And we really want to encourage those of you that are watching today to reach out to our panel if they've said something that resonated with you. That's what this is about. It's about networking and collaborating and finding your tribe, right? Finding people that are like-minded, that can help you to level up in whatever it is that you're doing, where you share the same core values. And everybody has different gifts, of course, but if we have the same core values, we can always work together to help lift each other up. So ladies, thank you guys so much for being here today. Do you guys have any final words or anything before we go?
I want to tell everybody thank you. And I love learning from each one of you and the support. And Lachelle, thank you and your host for bringing this together and just allowing us to make some new friends here also.
Love that.
Yes, thank you so much, ladies. It's been a pleasure to spend this almost hour with you, and I've learned a lot today, so I appreciate all of you.
I want to say thank you, too, for opening your arms to me to come in and share about me and listen to all your beautiful voices. And I hope that I can connect with each of you for a coffee chat. And anyone that's listening in, thank you.
Love that. Well, you guys have been amazing. We thank you all for joining us, and your insight really is remarkable. And we just definitely encourage everybody to connect with our panel today. We have enjoyed all the things that they have shared. And it was a great conversation. I really could have gone for some more time with some of those takeaways, really.
There was lots.
What's going on with you this week, Rochelle? How's everything going? Anything we can do to support you?
This week? No, it's kind of quiet. Just working on a few different things with the podcast and the TV show. I'm just some new collaborations, new things happening, putting together stuff, and kind of enjoying the summer a little bit, trying to. So, yeah.
Love that.
Just love showing up here and seeing you ladies and your smiley faces.
Well, thank you. It's been it seems like it's been forever, and it's only been a couple weeks, but it seems like a long time. Mm-hmm. So glad to be back and glad to see you guys. So Misty, how can we support you with this book and what's next? I'm just amazed at how you're doing these projects with different people. I mean, I'm still in awe.
My world is moving very fast, and I love that. I saw I saw your live today. That made my heart so happy. Thank you for that. That was a beautiful nod to our book that came out. It's called My 2 Cents on Self-Love, Hayden's Way. It's available on Amazon, and I'll put the links in. I just can't touch the chat while I'm on the show. But it's Hayden's Way, and the proceeds go to my son's memorial nonprofit. He passed away in June, and all the proceeds go to our grief relief space this year. So if you haven't gotten your copy, I would love for you to click. The ebook is available now, and we'll release the paperback in about 2 weeks at his birthday dinner. So thank you for that. Thanks for letting me mention that. Yeah, international bestseller. It was really amazing. In happiness and inner child, personal transformation, like all the things I would want to be categorized as. So it was really a beautiful way to re-enter society after my grief period. So it was it was a loving welcome.
I mean, I still am amazed, and I just think that is such a pillar of strength for a lot of business owners that, you know, experience loss of a child, and just to see how, you know, you were willing to be vulnerable and transparent with your story during that time. I mean, it just is so inspiring. So I'm just so excited for you guys. And I'm sure it was even kind of therapeutic at some points, you know, being able to
and seeing him ripple literally around the world. It was just, it's really beautiful.
That is, yeah.
I mean, that's a book in itself. I mean, that's one that I'm sure you haven't even thought to even write, how you had that strength to make it through and accomplish a major goal like that during a time of grief. So, and where it's leading to now with your campground and the grief packages that you're offering. I mean, it's just amazing.
Well, thank you. It's definitely something he trained me well for this next step. So I'm proud to be able to kind of carry the torch and share it with other people now. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, this is
what do you have going on?
For me, let's see, it's Prime Day. I'm trying to remember that it's Prime Day. You know, I'm not much, you know, and I probably shouldn't say this. I don't really like ordering a lot of stuff online. I like going in the store. My kids, everything is Amazon. Every day we got a delivery. And so I'm just getting used to like, oh, it's Prime Day, you know? But that is really the thing. I am promoting this. This is something new for me as an Amazon influencer. So that's really what I've got going on. And just
Amazon delivery has kept me literally kept us alive for the last few years while we were in kind of the pandemic and keeping him away from the germs. Everything came by delivery. So my life changed a lot when I embraced the delivery idea.
You know, it really can be a time saver for a lot of people. And it's amazing how you can order something and then you get it the next day. I mean, I'm like, what? You know, but I mean, with the way things are moving so fast, we really shouldn't be surprised about it. But
no,
I'm being transitioned into this online space. So that's really what I've got going on. And my son, I'm taking him to go get his permit today. So we have our fingers crossed that he does well. He's, you know, boys are different. I'm like, have you studied? You know, have you looked at the book? Oh, I did the practice test. So we'll see what happens.
So
you'll hear about it next week.
He's going for
say that again.
He's going for his driver's license.
He's going for his permit. So he just turned 15. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
that's funny.
Yeah.
My daughter's going next week.
We'll see what happens. Okay. But yeah, so just prayer, because if he gets it, then he's gonna be like, you know, can I drive home? And I'm like,
yes.
I don't think so. We need to find an open parking lot. Let me have you test through some things first. I really value my life right about now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but thank you guys so much for watching with us today. This has been so much fun. And we definitely encourage you guys to reach out to our guests. They have some amazing expertise that they provide with their passion that they do in the world. And I know each of them that were on today, and they just really would be an asset for anybody who got a chance to have a sit down and a one-on-one with them. So We thank you guys so much for watching. Again, those comments, we love them and we're going to get to them. If you want to be a guest, then please reach out to us. We'll put you on the calendar. And we're celebrating Christmas in July. I almost forgot to mention this. I know it's early, but I'm telling you, if you want peace of mind about the holidays, if you want to get all your holiday ideas out early so you can just really just roller coaster down the end of the year, then join us for our meet and greet for Christmas in July. So it's July 25th. And if you want to be a part of that, we'll put the link in the chat as well. So thank you guys so much for joining today. And we want to wish you a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.